I was about 12, I think, when my father bought me a kit for a little Keelcraft rubber powered model called an Achilles. And I had no idea how to make it, so Dad and me built it between us. And it was, if I recall, it was pretty crude when it was finished up. Never flew properly. Had a wooden prop which was supplied as a balsa wood blank in the kit. We didn't even bother to shape it properly, it was just used the blank. And no, it didn't fly. And I think the tissue covering was all wrinkly, and yeah, it was pretty hopeless effort. But it did spark my interest in aviation, generally, model aeroplanes in particular. Dad was worked at the Bristol Aeroplane Company as a mechanic. He was a pilot's mate, and he was concentrated mostly on prototype aeroplanes. So he was a sort of worked alongside of the test pilots in those days, back in the 1930s, late 30s, and came home with lots of tales of the aircraft of the day, and used to do quite a bit of flying himself as a passenger in some of the twin-seat open cockpit jobs like Hawker Harts and stuff, Bristol Bulldogs, and anyway, that was my introduction to model aeroplanes and aviation in particular. I didn't stop when I was in the Navy, to be quite honest. I even sketched up plans of model aeroplanes when I was at sea, and actually had a model aircraft engine when I was at sea, and I sort of ran it a few times on the flight deck in a little test. I was on an aircraft carrier, by the way, so up on the flight deck I ran this sort of little Albin Dart. It was a little 0.5cc on my test mat on the flight deck. Fumes of ether flowing through the vents from those, I'm sure. But yeah, I didn't actually stop modelling all the way through my naval service. Oh, I've been designing my aircraft long before I joined the Navy. I was doing it back in probably 1952, I think I designed my first one, which was a little twin boom rubber powered pusher aircraft. And yeah, that didn't fly too good. It flew okay, except that the rubber powered motor, propeller, lasted about 10 seconds. You sort of wound up and it was out. So it was very short flights. But I didn't have any plans for that one. I just sort of sketched it up and built it from just bits and pieces from memory.
Well, you can't just go straight into designing aircraft. How did you learn the theory of what you were doing, or did you just make it up as you went along?
Pretty much, I guess, yeah. I built a few kits, quite a number of model airplane kits, mostly Keelcraft, Frog, Veron kits, which were all popular English kits at the time. Mercury was a beautiful kit. I built a thing called Mercury Zephyr, I think it was. Anyway, I built this Zephyr with a 7.75, and it flew beautifully. It was a lovely little aeroplane, free flight, no radio control. Just start the engine, launch, and away she went, and a beautiful little plane.
Did you start at the beginning with the idea of this numbering system? Because tell me, what number are you up to now?
101, and I've sort of started building them 102. I've just cut out a few parts, but the numbering system was only my own design models. Lots of kits and plans have been built in between, so probably near 150, I would think, total. So yeah, if you include all the ones built from plans and kits.
You've stayed with the original techniques. What appeals to you about that old school technique of tissue balsa and diesel or petrol engines?
I think it's a matter of problem solving in some ways. You design a model aeroplane, and then you have to obviously draw the plans. Then you have to construct it from your own plans, and there's quite a bit involved regarding the getting the centre of gravity right, power weight ratios right, wing loadings right. So it's a series of problem solving. It sort of occupies quite a bit of how can I say, not brain power, but research, experience, and hopefully at the end of the day you get a model plane that looks reasonable and flies well. Landing. I've stuck with IC powered models, or totally IC powered models, but I've used in modern materials. For instance, the covering materials in particular, plastic film rather than tissue and dope, which is much more, how can I say, user friendly. Especially when the wife starts to complain about the smell of dope and obviously cement. On average, I guess it takes probably from concept of design to actually flying the model 3 to 4 months. I would think, yeah. Which a lot of young people these days find a time period far too long. They want instant gratification. They want to. Generally speaking, I'm talking about my own grandkids and kids, that they want to buy something in the shop and fly it next day. But I persevere with my old methods, and I get a lot of satisfaction from the whole process, from concept to a proven model. Once it has flown, I quite often lose interest a little bit because I've proved the point. I'm keen to get on with the next plane rather than keep on flying the same one over again.
This limits the risk of crash though, doesn't it?
It does limit the risk of crashing. My shed is getting a bit crowded, I'm afraid. The shed gets fuller and fuller.
Does it worry you that these skills are being lost?
I'm afraid, yeah, a lot of the skills of the old techniques are being lost, but fortunately there are people around the world, in America and England and Australia, who are reproducing some of the old kits. And people now, I think, are getting interested in the old traditional methods. They're not necessarily vintage kits, but the stuff you have to actually put together yourself. So there are a number of companies who can supply kits, and you have to sit down and make them. Rather than just go and buy something out of a model shop or a toy shop.